Coming up on today's show, Elon Musk shares video of the Tesla Model 3 production line running at 1/10 the speed it should. LG Chem announces plans for its own Gigafactory in Poland that will provide batteries for 100,000 cars per year. And the Hyperloop One becomes Virgin Hyperloop One thanks to Richard Branson. These stories and more coming next on 10. Like all our content, today's show is funded by the in-stream ads on today's video and by the kind donations of viewers like you. Follow the link at the end of today's video to make a monthly donation to our Patreon crowdfunding campaign to help keep us independent and impartial. And if you're already donating, thanks for your continued support. It's Friday, October 13th, 2017. I'm Nikki Gordon-Bloomfield, and I'd just like to thank everyone for the well wishes this week. My surgery went well, and I'm no longer walking around with a heart monitor embedded in my chest. So that's good. Last month, during a presentation in Shanghai, China, General Motors CEO Mary Barra went on something of an attack against China's recently announced future ban on the sale of all new internal combustion engine vehicles, suggesting that while the company wanted a future with zero crashes, zero emissions and zero congestion, customers, not governments, should choose the vehicles they wanted. As CEO of the company that produces the excellent Chevrolet Bolt EV and the company which once crushed the EV1, it caused something of a stir. But this week, Barra was walking back her comments about mandated electric cars, saying that while she supports the move towards electric, she still believes that the role of automakers is to make customers happy and fill their needs. It's a subtler, softer stance to the tone from last month, but given GM's track record to date, it's not enough for many plug-in fans who have already sworn off GM for good. Will it impact sales of the Bolt EV moving forward? Well, I doubt it, since the average car buyer really doesn't care about such things. But this backpedal shows how nervous GM really is about getting its place in the electric vehicle market right. Following on from its Q3 2017 production and delivery estimates last week, Tesla has officially postponed the unveiling of the Tesla semi-truck to the end of November. This is the second time the launch has been pushed back and, says Tesla, was necessary so that the company could focus on producing Tesla Powerwall products for disaster-stricken Puerto Rico, as well as bring Model 3 production up to speed. In regards to the latter, Tesla has reportedly been producing many of its Model 3 parts by hand as it brings its Model 3 line up to speed. And this week, Tesla CEO Elon Musk shared this Instagram video showing Model 3 production line moving at 1/10 of the speed it's capable of. Yes, it shows Model 3 production is slowly increasing, but it's far from the speed Tesla had hoped it would be by this point this year. Let's hope it speeds up soon. Talking of Model 3, we saw the very first advert for a used Tesla Model 3 this week on Craigslist. Advertised in Santa Cruz, California, the Model 3 was listed as having just over 2,000 miles on the clock, complete with a long-range battery, panoramic glass roof, premium interior, sound system and aero wheels. But almost as quickly as the car went on sale for a listed $150,000, that's 3 times the original price, the car was removed from sale. The reason? Well, so far only Tesla employees, SpaceX employees and Tesla insiders are getting Model 3 cars, and they have to sign a waiver saying they won't sell their car for more than they paid. Given this car was listed at quite the premium, it seems this person, a Tesla Monterey employee, didn't get the memo or was trying to make a quick buck. Either way, the listing is gone now, so who knows what happened? Because I don't. Back in April this year, Toyota unveiled Project Portal, a small custom-built project at the automaker that took the guts out of several Toyota Mirai hydrogen fuel cell sedans and put them inside a full-sized semi, resulting in a powerful hydrogen fuel cell semi that could pull 80,000 pounds of cargo. Well, now several of those custom-built big rigs are entering into service at the ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach in California, where they will be used to test the feasibility of hydrogen fuel cell trucks in the real world. To begin with, the vehicles will work inside the ports, but eventually they could head out into the open road. Given how big the haulage industry is, both in terms of monetary value and the amount of carbon emissions it produces, it's easy to see why Toyota, just like Nikola Motor, Tesla, and several other major automakers, want to capitalize on this as yet untapped zero emissions market. For years now, the country of Norway has been a shining beacon to the rest of the world when it comes to electric vehicle incentive programs, offering those who opt to buy a plug-in car zero purchase tax, freedom to drive in the bus lanes in certain cities, and even free parking and charging. But this week, we learned that Norway's government is considering a change that would see higher value electric cars like the Tesla Model X and Model S lose their 100% sales tax exemption. Lower value plug-in cars will still be completely tax-free, however, essentially making it what some would call a Tesla tax. While I can see this would upset fans, the proposal only follows what we're seeing elsewhere in the world, where higher value cars are less heavily incentivized than more affordable ones, reserving full incentives for people who may not be able to buy an electric car without them, rather than giving tax breaks to those who clearly have the money to drop six figures on a new plug-in ride. Over the past 18 months or so, we've started to see more and more countries around the world push towards a future where there will be a ban on the sale of all new internal combustion engine vehicles. Well, now we're starting to see a push on a more local level, with 3 European cities pushing to ban internal combustion engine vehicles from entering their city limits completely. Copenhagen, Paris and Oxford all announced proposals to do just that this week, with the city of Oxford, England announcing its intent to make 6 streets in its city centre zero emission only from 2020. By 2035, meanwhile, Oxford aims to ban all vehicles with a tailpipe from the entire city in a move that it says will clean up its toxic air pollution of the ancient city and improve the health of its residents. Good on you, Oxford. If you watched last week's show, you'll know that Land Rover launched its first ever production plug-in hybrid vehicle last week in the form of the Range Rover Sport P400e plug-in hybrid. Well, this week, its big brother followed suit, with the Range Rover P400e making its first steps into the world. Like the smaller Range Rover Sport model, the Range Rover P400e plug-in hybrid is capable of around 30 miles of all-electric range, although that's yet to be officially rated, and also has a 2-litre 4-cylinder gasoline engine up front that can operate to provide power when the battery pack is empty. While it will operate in parallel hybrid mode by default, Land Rover says owners will be able to force the vehicle into all-electric mode at the touch of a button. Oh, and while I'm at it, while it's only sort of related, Land Rover's partner Jaguar hinted this week during an interview with Johnny Smith on the Fully Charged YouTube channel, check it out, that it might just offer a bespoke conversion service for customers looking to turn any XK-engined classic big cat into a luxury electric car. Sadly, it's just a hint, but Jaguar wants to allow its existing customers to continue to enjoy their beautiful rides long after internal combustion engines have gone the way of the dinosaur. Watch this space. When I talk about electric car battery packs on this show, I normally either talk about Tesla and its massive Gigafactory in Reno, Nevada, or Nissan, which has actually recently sold its battery business to a Chinese firm, or LG Chem, the South Korean company responsible for the battery packs found in a number of popular EVs today, including the Chevrolet Bolt EV and the Renault Zoe EV. Over the past few years, LG Chem has seen a massive increase in demand for its high-density electric vehicle battery cells, and so this week it announced a doubling in size of a planned new battery facility in Poland, taking it from enough battery packs for 50,000 EVs per year to enough battery packs for 100,000 EVs per year, or if you prefer, 6 gigawatt hours of production per year, making it the largest battery facility in Europe. It's not only good for the city of Wrocław, Poland, but it's great news for the EV industry as more battery packs means lower cost. This next one is a short little PSA for anyone with a Tesla Model X with flat-fold seats made between October 26th last year and August 16th this year. That's because Tesla has issued a voluntary recall on around 11,000 Model X SUVs with foldable second-row seats made during that period to rectify a potential problem with the release cable located in the second-row seat back. Tesla says certain release cables may be incorrectly installed and, as such, may cause the seats to move forward in the event of a collision, but notes it's not received any notification of such an event occurring in the real world. Less than 3% of the 11,000 recalled vehicles made are believed to be affected, but Tesla is going above and beyond, as always, to ensure all vehicles are checked. Not far from the headlines for the past year or more, Hyperloop one of several companies trying to bring Elon Musk's Hyperloop vision to commercial reality, has changed its name this week to Virgin Hyperloop One. The reason? a major cash injection from Sir Richard Branson's Virgin Group, which will see Virgin Hyperloop One focus on developing a passenger and mixed-use cargo service for Hyperloop around the world. And with the company eager to build Hyperloop systems everywhere from Dubai to Colorado, I think it's going to be very, very busy indeed. I'm still not 100% sure on how much it's all going to cost, but with Virgin on board, at least there is now a fairly good cash stream available to it, right? This, as I'm sure you'll know by now, is the Porsche Mission E, Porsche's first foray into the electric vehicle market segment. Expected to offer Tesla Model S range and similar performance, the high-end four-door sedan will also feature an ultra-fast CCS charging standard that will be able to replenish its battery pack from empty to 80% full in just 15 minutes. Well, it turns out that it's not the only car that Porsche is working on, as this photo from this week's Electric Vehicle Symposium, EVS 30, shows. Meet the E-Cayman, a development vehicle from Porsche fitted with the same CCS charge standard as the Mission E and a similar battery pack, and presumably a car that could make it into production. I can't wait. Unless you're really into your electric motorcycles, you may not have heard of Italian firm Tessita, which to date has been focusing on producing motocross, supermoto and dual sport electric motorcycles for the European market. Well, this week, it launched a new cruiser aimed at the US called the T-Cruise. Complete with a 30kW electric motor and 5-speed gearbox, this bike looks like a classic US cruiser and can be configured with a choice of 3 different battery pack sizes. The largest, 27.5 kilowatt-hours, which the firm says will be good for 186 miles, that's nearly 300 kilometers of range per charge. The bad bit? That range-topping model will cost you almost as much as an entry-level 2018 Nissan Leaf. Yeah. Involved in the FIA Formula E race series since its inception and partly responsible for the single-seat race cars used in its first few seasons, you'd be forgiven for thinking Renault is embedded into Formula E as some of its drivers. But this week, we learned that Renault is bowing out of Formula E in the not-too-distant future, and its alliance partner Nissan is most likely to take its place, putting it in a head-to-head race with other Japanese automakers keen to prove their racing pedigree in the zero-emissions race series. We'll likely hear official confirmation in the coming months, so I'll bring you more news as I have it. The chances are you probably wouldn't associate an oil company investing in an electric vehicle charging infrastructure company, and if it did, you'd probably think it was doing so in order to close down the competition and keep people pumping hydrocarbons, not electrons. But this week, Royal Dutch Shell acquired European charging network NewMotion in a move that, were it from any other oil company, might make me worry. But given that the CEO of Royal Dutch Shell was mentioned on this show a few months ago, as publicly proclaiming that electric cars were the future, reiterating a desire to offer fueling for electric cars along other side fuel forms, I don't think we should be worried yet. Or do you think we should? And finally, we've all been caught out by a bit of range anxiety every now and then. And if you've ever driven off the beaten track, you'll know it can be a real worry when you're in an unfamiliar territory, aren't sure how far it is to the next functioning charging station, and get that dreaded low battery warning light. Well, Amazon, yes, Amazon, thinks it has the answer to range anxiety in stranded EVs. Behold its recently granted patent for autonomous electric vehicle drones that will deliver your car an emergency charge if you ever get stranded, or you just need to top up to get to your destination. While there's no video of this in the real world, the idea is that the drones fly in, dock with the roof of a low-charge EV, give a quick DC boost of power via special prongs on the drone and the roof of the car, and then move off again, helping you reach your destination without even stopping. I'm not sure if it will ever become a reality. Most patents don't, but it's an intriguing vision of the future, don't you think? And on that note, it's time for me to say goodbye for the week. As always, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and hit that notification bell to make sure you don't miss a single episode. And if you like what I'm doing, why not contribute to the show's costs via Patreon? I've left a link below and a clickable one at the end of this video. As usual, I'll be back next week with more Transport Evolved goodness, but until then, thanks for joining me. I'm Nikki Gordon-Bloomfield. This was 10. Have a great weekend, and until next time, keep evolving.